You're welcome. Hey guys, this is Daniel from Valor Comic Services, and welcome to the Happy Dad channel. Today I'm going over, should you get your comics graded? I'm going to break down what that is, why I think people do it, as well as how much does this cost. Over at Valor, the question I get asked most frequently is how much does this cost? And I'm going to give you a price guide and show you as well as show you the process and the stages of billing as it occurs from the CGC side. I do hope this video sheds some light and gives you a little bit more knowledge than you had beforehand. So if it did, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about graded comic books. So diving into it, let's talk about what is a graded comic book. This is one of my most recent ones I got received in the mail. This is Spider-Man Noir #1 in a 9.6. So this is graded by CGC. When it's graded, it has the decimal system up here. This is a 9.6. Another good example of a book I recently got was Batman Adventures #12 and a 9.0 in a newsstand. So what's happened with these books is I've had these comic books before. They were in a bag and board, just kind of how you normally think about comic books. They were sent to the company CGC out of Sarasota, Florida. Their professional expert graders graded these comic books and gave them their grade, which 9.0 and the 9.6, and then encapsulate them. As an added layer of protection, it's also vacuum sealed inside of plastic inside this case. Now, why would you want to get your comic books graded? One is for investments or to find value. Back when this book was raw means that it's just in a bag and board. It has not been graded. It has no association with that. A raw copy of this book is going to sell for significantly less than what this is at a graded copy. Same with the Spider-Man Noir. In fact, with this book, I actually got this out of the Second and Charles out of Bossier, Louisiana. I paid, I believe, $120 for it. So that was the price of the raw book. I then sent it in, it was graded, came back a 9.6, and now the value of this book is well over 200% of what I paid for it. So right now this is about a $300 book. This book got graded, it came back at the 9.0 grade, and now the value of it has grown exponentially. But when you have a lot of people that are talking about investing in comic books, they are talking about the comic book, sure, but where you're going to find higher return and your value and where you're flipping your books is going to come through getting the highest grade you can of the said book. The second reason I think people get books graded for personal collection. Using these two books as an example as well. This is for sale. This is the flip. This is a PC book. This is a beautiful cover, and I'm very grateful to have it. So this is going to be in the PC. Tying into number 3, whenever you encapsulate books, it turns it into a collectible. CGC's namesake has collectible in it. One reason why I like graded books, especially when it comes to PC or flipping, whenever you have a key issue of someone's first importance or something of large significance happens, CGC will note it up over on the top right corner of the book. For instance, this says the first appearance of Harley Quinn in comics out of DC continuity. Harley Quinn's first appearance was in the Batman animated series. Same thing with Spider-Man Noir. So over here in the top right corner, it says first appearance of Spider-Man Noir. Even in comic books with classic cover, it'll state that, hey, this is a classic cover. Say you're watching this video and you think, wow, I have some comic books that I might want to get encapsulated and graded. How much does this cost? Everything. Well, that's where it gets a little bit more tricky. So for bare bones, for a new book such as this one, it costs $22. That's the price that CGC charges for grading, is $22. And I'm not getting into all the different tiers. I'm going to use Spider-Man Noir as an example. And let's say this book was raw and I was going to go through the process of grading what that would look like. So this is a raw book, now we're going to get it graded. So CGC charges $22 for grading. That's the cost of grading. It's $22 for modern. So you're at $22 for this. Well, now you have the option of fast tracking. Fast tracking is debatable. There are a lot of things involving the turnaround time, and there's some discrepancies. Through Valor, I've experienced discrepancies through it. It's really weird. But the purpose of fast tracking is designed for you to get your books in half the time as normal standard grading. So that also charges you $15 a book. Well, I'm excited for what this book is going to be graded at, so let's go ahead and fast track it. Alright, so now we're at $37 for grading. You know, I don't have any other books I want to send right now. I'm just excited for this, so let's go ahead and go with this. Alright, cool. So this is the only book in this invoice. There's going to be a $5 handling fee for this invoice. So now we're at $42. Well, now we got to ship it. So as we're making the invoice, we have the options for shipping. It's $16. So now that we've added the $16 for shipping, we're at $58. Now, that also doesn't count the shipping that it costs to get there. For the sake of this video, we're going to say it's $8. The cost of grading for this one book is at $66. And that's a lot of money, especially if you pay someone else to clean and press it. Then you're looking at $76. And if you're thinking, I've got a stack of old books in my closet that I would love to get graded, this is when you're going to start to reevaluate how much you want to spend on grading. There are a bunch of books that aren't worth the cost of grading, because unless you hit a 9.6 or a 9.8, you're not going to get that money back. Now, if it's for your personal collection and you're going to enjoy it, then you rightfully should. You should definitely get your personal collection books graded. That way you can enjoy them. If you're trying to get money back on it, then you really got to weigh your options and make sure and be smart about what you're sending, because it still costs so much for each book to get graded. You're at a higher risk to see if you're going to get that money back or not. So recently I submitted a Something is Killing the Children #1 8th print that I lost money on because of how much it costs to get graded with Fast Track. If you don't Fast Track your book, you can save a little bit of money. It does add up with multiple books. It may take a longer time for you to get it. As CGC has their turnaround times written out, you can save money, but you're going to have to play the patient long game with those books. When does CGC bill you for these books? Because with Valor, we had a lot of issues with that. It seemed like we were being billed at random times. There was never a time that was set in place for when billing would happen. It would seem logical that whenever you when you put in your card information to submit these orders, you would be billed then. However, that's not the case with CGC. They bill you whenever your books have been shipped in and received, and they begin to work on them. Now, typically, whenever you do this, you'll receive an email saying your order has been checked in, and then it'll give you the invoice number, which you can log into CGC's website, set up your account, and you can pull up which books they're working on. So it makes it easier to track. So your books will be checked in, and then anywhere from the same day to up to 3 business days later, then you're billed. It seems like they do this because they're possibly stacking your order, especially if you send frequently or more than one. That way they can bill you for the most submissions that they can within that allotted time. I know I had one situation earlier in the year where I was billed for 8 different submissions at once. It was not a fun time for anyone in my household. Now, I know that's a lot of information to just spit out, especially when it comes to numbers and money. And at the end of it, it comes down to you and what you want to do with your comic books. If you're trying to flip a bunch and capitalize off of what you can by sending in books to be graded, you definitely should, but you also need to pay attention to what condition these books are in. Because say if you get a bunch of mid-grades, like anywhere from 5.5s to 7s to 8s to 9s, on some books, you may not see that money back that you just spent on grading, and it's going to be cheaper for you to buy those books already graded. And that's going to conclude the video for today. I'm curious to know what your thoughts on graded comic books are. Until next time, guys, be safe.